Char Margolis, Char Communications Incorporated, and CharVision LLC do not endorse or offer for any purpose but entertainment the views of any guest or other expert on CharVision or UBN.
I knew things before they happened from the time I was a child. At the age of 8, I saw a spirit at the foot of my bed and didn't know what it was. And in my 20s, I finally realized I had a special ability that could help others. I have learned that love never dies. There is a spirit world that can communicate with us, and we all have the gift of intuition. Join me, and together we will explore the possibilities of the unknown from beyond and more. This is CharVision. Hi, everybody. It's Char and Sunny. You know, there's a saying, healer, heal thyself. Well, all of you out there are your own healers, believe it or not. And I have a very special healing person here who's a dear friend. And she's considered one of the world's leading authorities on human behavior, Eastern and Western medicine, and personal development. And she's so wonderful. And her name is Dr. Sarah Larsen. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
yeah,
I'm so grateful to be on your show.
Well,
and for us to co-create.
I know. I just love it when our energies are together because you're so pure and you're so good and you're so dear, and I'm so grateful for all that you do to help everybody. So I didn't realize you're teaching people past life regression?
I do teach neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis. I do past life regression.
She's
as
an
well.
MD, by the way. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but she's an MD. I mean, she does Eastern and Western medicine. I mean, it's amazing. Anyway, so go ahead.
It's when you have access to yourself, that healer, heal thyself.
Right.
Each person is a healer. The more you have access to yourself, the more you have of the record of energy that's in the environment between us. So we know that there's no empty space.
Right.
There's only this beautiful energy soup, much like fish swimming in water. We are human beings swimming in consciousness. And so when...
Ooh, that's very profound.
The more alive we are inside ourselves, the more connected we are with ourselves, the more connected we are to that consciousness that's alive and rich. You know how you've heard thoughts are things?
I believe that.
Yes.
I wrote that in my book many years ago.
Thoughts are things. And so the thoughts, every thought we've had is hanging out in the energy field until it becomes something mental, emotional, physical. And all the energy is constantly available to us.
Does energy sit in our cells?
Energy,
for some reason I'm supposed to ask you about cells. That's my feeling.
Oh, that's such a great, you're so psychic. It's so good. The more we're like, each one of our cells is like the earth.
Okay.
And the earth is following the sun around the sun's course through the universe.
Okay.
So each of us is a earth, and we're following our desires and our bliss around, and that's generating an energy. So our heart puts into the conscious field an energy form, and we're following that energy out and about, and that energy is drawing to us what we need to heal ourselves and to completely show up in the world as we need to show up.
How do we get negative to positive to people? How do we change that?
So if someone is in a negative space with you, you have to meet them where they're at first.
Is that what you do?
So you meet them right where they are, whatever they're sharing, whatever they're experiencing. You bring your energy field, you bring your body, two of like mind get together. And when you're with them, this is empathy. When you're feeling what they're feeling and they're feeling felt, then their cells can elevate with you. There's an ability to listen to you once they feel like they're being listened to.
How do you protect yourself when you go to their energy level?
You know who you are.
Right.
And you know your purpose in doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my purposes for doing most of what I do is to be able to bring resources to those that don't have resources, because I believe we're all connected in the field. The least of us and the greatest of us are connected in every shape and form. And if we knew that, if we fully understood that, we would be giving as much as we possibly could to balance out the energies between us all and to play nicely together. So I remember my purpose, and my purpose is locked within me.
Right.
And then my happy memories are locked within me. All the grace that's been shown. And so when one aspect of me comes to visit whoever it is
Right.
in their field, I know where I am, and I'm building a rainbow bridge, so to speak. So whatever you're feeling, I let you feel it, I feel it with you, and then we cross over the bridge to the next level that you can comfortably get to.
And how do you use regression therapy in this whole circle of healing?
Regression is so beautiful because we have unspoken agreements in our heart that we forgot about.
Okay, wait. So are you saying before we come on the earth, we have agreements with the universe
So
that are unspoken, but that we made a deal? This is our karma, this is what we're supposed to do?
So we collectively are energy. We're never created nor destroyed. We're just transformed.
Oh.
So when we shift, when this vessel that's holding this body right now is complete with, or this soul is complete with this vessel, depending on how I've shifted and used my seed, my desires, my wants, when it's done with this body, the energy that is me will drop the body, will connect with everything else, will balance out. I'll feel everything that you felt. I'll feel everything that I've ever encountered. I'll understand how I fit and belonged with everything. And then I will choose how I want. There's a very particular seed in me that fully, fruitfully realized is able to go in and out of form. It can go back to a spirit, it can go back to mental energy, it can go back, so like Christ, that where it was that rainbow body,
Right.
and he was able to share, it dropped the physical body,
Right.
was able to show the rainbow body to Mary Magdalene, was able to carry out and eat and do everything a physical body could do.
Whoa.
Isn't that amazing?
That's fascinating.
And we have at least 250 other beings, humans, documented that took on the rainbow body in the Buddhist tradition, in the Hindu tradition, in Christianity, and that's the one that's best known. In every culture, in every religion, there's someone with that story of being a rainbow body. They dropped the physical body, but you could see the vision of them. And I love Mother Mary, who shows up in all the cultures. The Lady of Guadalupe, everyone got together.
That gives me goosebumps.
They saw the vision together.
Right.
So they literally took consciousness, the space,
Right.
and created this being in light that exists to be right there, that everyone's seeing at the same time.
And those 250 people
Yes.
of rainbow bodies, are they known? How do you...
They're studied. They're in different cultures. Now we can Google them. Immortal beings, there's different names for them. Jiva Samadhi, taking on different in each culture, in different languages, we acknowledge energy is not created nor destroyed. The soul
Right.
goes from one body to the next body. And when your soul, when that energy is fully blossomed and produced what it's here to do. So Christ consciousness's purpose was to tell us everything I can do, you can do. You can heal with thoughts and with grace and with permission. You can turn loaves of bread into feeding everyone. You can multiply. You can turn water into wine. You can cross the earth in this. You can walk over water.
But the person who's the healer has to believe they can do it before they can do it. They have to actually not even believe, they have to know it.
They have to know.
You have to own your power, kids.
That's and yes, absolutely, owning your power is so important. Owning what's possible, staying in the mystery of saying, oh, I am this and this. And one of the agreements, like, okay, if we have history of 250 plus Christ consciousness doing this, then what's in here? What do I really want? What am I here to bring? And when you ask that question, you might on your own begin dreaming of your past lives.
Oh, wow.
You
in the Akashic Records.
In the Akashic Records, you ask yourself great questions, and the Akashic Records are held in symbols.
Oh.
Before we had language that we do, we had symbols, we had hieroglyphs. We have, just like the earth rotates around the sun, it's creating this vortex. It creates this sacred geometry that looks like the flower of life, which is really, really beautiful, the way that it courses through. That symbol is a symbol of what's fully possible when we're in the flow movement. So each one of us has our own personal symbols that we took on in each of our lifetimes, sort of, so to speak, crest.
That makes sense.
When we go back to the original, when we fulfill the agreement that we took on in the previous lives, and we complete those, and it's all free will. Either it's all free will or it's not. Every animal has to have free will.
And is that how we accrue karma as well, then?
We accrue karma is simply any unfulfilled desire.
Okay.
So if you're in this lifetime and you have an unfulfilled desire here, and you transition to the energy world again, and you're full one with consciousness, you're pure energy again, then you decide, wow, I wanted to experience this, but I didn't get to. You balance yourself out when you're in the transition between the two worlds.
Okay.
And then if it stood out strong enough that you truly want to experience it, then you bring it on.
Well, what if somebody does a negative thing? What's the rule of karma if somebody does something negative to someone? How does that come back on them?
So it's really interesting, because when you really get the negative things that we do are held in place by agreements before we get here. So the really big ones, the really awful ones, are designed to help us wake up. Nothing is done to us, it's done for us.
So if somebody does something negative, you don't believe that the karma goes back on them?
So unfulfilled desire,
right?
If you look at it from that point, and so in my own experience, I had a very rough experience.
Okay.
And I don't even have to bring in a rough one. I signed up for a class, and in the class, the teacher misunderstood me and thought I was doing something that I wasn't doing, and maybe even accused me to her staff of
Oh,
doing
no.
something.
That's terrible.
Isn't this funny? But
Especially you.
I know at some
Because
level,
you're so pure and so honest.
it's at some level I brought that on because I was in the wrong classroom. I decided that I needed this class.
Okay, but I'm talking about, what if somebody kills a child for no reason?
So the child it's either all miraculous and free will, or it's not.
Okay.
So all death is, I'm going to put this in quotation marks, free choice, free will. We can literally choose to come back, or we can say it's going to be easier to do it in another body or in another way.
But are you saying that the person that murdered somebody was in the right to kill somebody?
So there's an agreement held in place prior to coming here that says that this person is going to do this so that the family can learn forgiveness, so that they can learn what it is. There's a purpose to everything. The starving children in our country, in Africa, around the world, are a reflection of how we haven't woken up yet to our own abundance.
But they're still
and
suffering.
Energy.
They're
Right.
still suffering.
So because I feel the suffering, and I go and I get an education and start accumulating wealth so that I can choose to give them the resources until they can give it to themselves.
Right.
The education. So that is purposeful suffering. But to imagine that we're only this body is part of the illusion.
Right, because we're many bodies with souls that elevate and change.
We are collectively an energy field that can do everything that what created us can do.
But I still am of the belief that what goes around comes around.
Oh, it does. Absolutely.
I just believe that. I mean, if somebody does something horrible to somebody that they shouldn't be doing, I believe that that's going to come right back on them. Whatever damn lessons they need to all the evil that they're doing, I believe that it comes back upon them.
So anyone that is doing anything, it does come back around. If it doesn't come while they're awake, day to day, it comes when
eventually
they're transitioning. Then the basic belief that's hurting us is that something ends.
Right.
We continue to go on and on and on until we organize ourselves.
Right.
And the key part of that is it's with permission, full participation at some level. Bad things do happen. Really horrific things happen.
Right.
And it's incredible how horrific they can be. Meaning the sex trade, the abuse,
I mean,
really awful child pedophilia.
That's horrifying. All of it's horrifying.
But this cycle gets created because there's some part of ourselves that we don't fully acknowledge. There's a shadow that is being cast because we haven't made available the light around it. And if we saw the light around it, it would be so different than the shadow that's cast. So another way to say that is, I am messy. If I didn't have a maid, it would drive me. I mean, I am messy. I write in my notebook, messy. And I thank her so much every time she comes over. I give her presents. I give her gifts. I need her help because she has this skill set.
Right.
But before I acknowledged fully that I was messy, if someone accused me of being messy, I was all defensive and I tried to push it away.
Right.
And so my super clean car that would show up at an event was hiding my messy room or my messy house or my messy multiple homes, the way that they were.
Right.
When I accepted, I am messy, I need help around this.
Right.
This shadow no longer created a wounding every time I went to hang out with somebody.
Right.
And if they were like, oh, you got a stain on your shirt, I could be hurt by that comment, I could be offended, or because I felt and did not accept myself as quote unquote messy.
Right.
So in our society, we have deemed particular ways of being more appreciated than other ways of being. The only reason there's child molestation is some deviation happened along the way in human consciousness that didn't allow for someone to express creatively.
But don't you believe if somebody abuses a child like that, they should go to prison?
Oh, I believe they need to be rehabilitated.
Right.
I think prison. Oh gosh,
But what
the
if they're
karma
like?
for the.
What if they're like really wacky? Like, what if they're like schizophrenic or really nuts? How do you heal them?
We have seen ourselves separate from them. Even schizophrenia. There is a doctor in the Polynesian Islands. There were 30-something people locked up, and through the Ho'oponopono oath, like literally took their case files that were so thick. They were the thickness of, I would say, over 2,000 papers.
Wow.
Of story, people from childhood that had been abused. This caseworker that got 30 of these read each one of their stories, each story of the 2,000, did the energy work. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me, which is please forgive me. I'm so sorry. Thank you. I love you. They did that for each of the Ho'oponopono oath, for each one of the experiences. They did it as the abuser. They did it as the abused.
As the victim.
As the victim. And those people walked out of the prison normal.
Wow. That's profound.
That's the work that these Akashic records, that's the work of fully understanding and knowing yourself. Know thyself. That's Socrates.
You know, to thine own self be true.
To thine own self be true.
You know, I know she's very humble. And I know you've done a lot of nice things for a lot of people and a lot of healing things for people. Can you give us one example of something you've done that I know you don't really want to talk, you don't like talking about it because I know you're not a boaster, but I want to hear about it. I want to hear about a healing experience you've had where you really helped somebody find themselves and became balanced again.
I would love to, the thing that I'm most proud of, I think, is I still haven't turned people away that can't afford me. I find a way for them to be able to work for me. I'm not able to do it as much as before, but we have people that live in our home. We've had people...
Wait. I don't know about this. You like taking strangers in your house?
We have, and we've...
Wow.
I've given away my car to someone that needed a car. And I share that this is my husband and I this year, 2016, sat down and thought about all the money that we'd raised for nonprofits. And this is really funny. When we sat down, it was in the 8 figures. And he and I were still driving dinky cars. We had decided that we were only going to buy and when we realized that we had created 8 figures for the charities that we're so passionate about, the first thing I did was I went out and I bought myself a new car.
Good for you. What did you get?
I got a hybrid, a Ford.
Good for you.
A Ford hybrid. Because
good for you.
I was recognizing something within myself.
Right, that you were taking care of You weren't
Right.
putting yourself first.
And I'm so grateful that I didn't realize that I was doing that to my kids as well.
Oh, your kids.
Because we have,
because
we were giving
from the
out,
heart. Yeah.
from the heart to all of these communities, all of these places. And I was like, wow, we need to really balance this out. And I'm learning the skill set of money.
Because you're selfless.
I literally
You're
am
selfless.
teaching myself how to negotiate.
You know, I always say the first true love is self-love.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're selfish. It means your needs matter. But I want to know a specific case that you've worked on where somebody totally changed their lives, besides giving somebody a car who needed to go somewhere.
Right. Oh, so an RN nurse.
Okay, that's what I want to hear
Her
about.
daughter was not talking to her. Her daughter was homeless, and I wound up helping the daughter. And she brought her mom to come visit me. And her mom lived in Michigan, totally isolated, but we did sessions on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Part of her lung was missing, part of her body, and an RN retired in this home, all alone, lonely. She did the work, emotional work, she did the spiritual work, she did the homework week after week, and she moved herself to California.
Oh.
She then moved in and became an energy healer during the...
Wait, moved in with you or moved in with who?
She moved in with someone we helped organize.
Okay.
Moving in with. She worked, and she regrew her lung.
Get out of here. Can you regrow a lung?
You can regrow any body part.
I mean, is that a known fact? I mean, is that scientifically proven?
It's so she had she had cancer in her lung. They took her lung out.
Right.
And she would just go for an x-ray once a year, 4 years of x-rays. Then she came in and they're like, oh my God, you regrew her lung. She got off multiple medications.
Wait, isn't that wait. You're healing with her. You taught her to heal herself.
She healed herself.
She healed herself.
And she healed her life, and she's now a healer, even though she came through traditional medicine and didn't believe
amazing.
Any of it.
But is it scientifically proven that you can grow a lung?
You can regrow your liver, you can regrow your skin.
The liver I know you can.
Yeah.
But not a kidney, right?
So once a kidney is removed, but part of the tissue... we recreate ourselves almost about every 100 days.
Oh.
We have collectively agreed to things that we can, so there are random Institute of Noetic Science documented spontaneous recoveries, spontaneous cancers going away. In the 90s, they started collecting this data. I think it's available completely on the internet.
Okay, that's amazing.
Spontaneous regeneration. Carolyn Mace, a lot of medical intuitives have been...
Because she's really gifted.
She's really gifted. We've documented in...
so miracles really do happen.
Miracles happen every day. Every day. The last Parliament of World Religions that I went to, they brought a little girl from China that could read the newspaper with her feet. This is like incredible, out of this world information. But we've got receptors, cells, everything available to us, and everything able to be done with each of our skin cells, with each of our body parts. We've got DNA. We can grow it anywhere. We're showing this now. We're using science to show we're growing animals, we're growing our body parts. Our medicine in the future, in Petri dishes, we will have our own cells being given back to us. We're already doing that.
There is
stem cells, all of that.
Stem cells are the future of healing.
The Chinese knew about stem cells. They call them immortal cells that live in your heart. We have in our heart these immortal cells or stem cells. Stem cells live in our skin. And medicine, scientifically documenting this. But in Egypt, they were doing brain surgery without anesthesia, and it's written on the walls how to do it in symbols. The trays that we use from in the Isis temple, there is...
Not explain what the Isis temple is so people don't... They think ISIS and they go, oh, they're
Isis.
terrorists.
Right. The goddess Isis. All the different
from
temples are
BC.
BC.
We're talking a long time ago. There was a goddess called Isis.
There was a goddess called Isis, and this goddess is considered the archetype healer. And anyone who takes her on, and shamans that use feathers, that was in her crown. The natives of most land use feathers in healings. And that goes back to the Egyptian days, what's carved in the temples in Egypt. And so it's quite profound.
Okay, so now that so your kids are learning along with you, right?
So my son sees angels. He communicates. He just had an extreme experience in his arm, and basically it was hanging off his shoulder. We did energy work, energy healers. This is my own son that I'm doing energy work with.
Wow.
We will probably do chiropractic adjustments as he plays sports.
Right.
But this is how much we believe in it.
Okay, so he had a dislocated
and probably a clavicle fracture. And
he didn't go and get a cast or anything.
No cast.
You helped
with the
healing of it.
So within the first 2 hours, I put the stuff back in place in the car. And again, I am a medical doctor. This is my son.
Right.
And I don't recommend this to those
Don't do this at home.
Don't do this at home. But I also didn't want a doctor that's not in this world to speak over him a prognosis or say this is what's going to happen.
Right.
One of the things that has happened in our society is we've equated doctors with God. If a doctor says something, then it must be true.
What's the difference between God and a doctor?
I don't know.
God doesn't think he's a doctor.
God doesn't think he's a doctor. And most of the doctors I know are so lovely, but they've been trained over and over and over again to think inside a system.
And to put negative connotations on it, and then people get fearful, and then they don't allow themselves to heal.
And it's been the doctor themselves are trained in legal language, so that because if you promise something, you can then if a doctor always wants to be over delivering prognosis, they don't want hopefulness becoming part of the equation. Once upon a time, doctors weren't separated out either. Now we have
Do you think they're worried about malpractice? Is that why?
Most of the doctors worry about malpractice. Most of them being reported losing their license. You have to be, and I'm not licensed. I'm not, because what I practice is energy. I don't practice anything that's considered medical.
How can people get a hold of you? Because do you do long distance healings as well?
I do long distance healing.
How can people get a hold of you? Because I've experienced people, long distance energy healers, and they really do work. And I believe you. So how can people get a hold of you?
So that my website is the best way.
Okay,
DrSarahLarsen.com.
It's SARAH. Is it under the? Thank you, Tony.
Yes.
Yeah, DrSarahLarsen.com. And so then. And they can get a hold of you for healing, and they can get a hold of me for healing. I am your fan, so we've got you on our page as well. Okay.
So we've got links to Char. Okay. I love educating on the wisdom of the body. Our right brain has access to all energy. Our left brain has access to language, and when we speak with words over what's given to us in an energy form, we can heal it.
And how many cases of cancer have you worked on and been, or approximately, that you've helped people with?
I
that you've
consider
helped?
that I've been working since at least 2003 in the alternative
Wow.
way for that. And I don't I consider cancer a education that the body, this is where dis-ease has really come into one area. So a cancer of the liver has to do with anger and father and unrepresented anger.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Right, and with the prostate, it's emotions. With the lungs and with this area, it has to do with nurturing, being nurtured enough. With the brain, it's our overthinking, thyroid as well, not enough for underspeaking. Our skin cancers really represent us not having enough boundaries or thicker skin ourselves.
Oh, that's fascinating.
So it depends
And people
on the
who have
legion.
heart attacks or heart issues?
Broken hearts. Along the way, they took on an agreement of some sort. So blood pressure is they put a lot of pressure on themselves, the A-type personality. And so constriction happens in the brain, in the body. But relaxation, when we believe we can relax and be in a relaxed way, our blood vessels also release. They relax. And so that's the circulation. Our heart is really where peace lives. If we're not in peace, then we get broken hearts.
Right.
And so we've all heard the story of a wife and a husband passing short times within each other.
Yeah.
Or Carrie Fisher and her
mom.
That situation, which is you really can die.
Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah, of a broken heart.
Debbie Reynolds died of a broken heart.
So when we have myocardial infarctions, or that's a heart attack, it's really the electricity, the passion in our life, not having the availability, the creativity, being able to express itself. Vessels start closing down. When we relieve stress, when we go for walks, we give the environment some of our troubles. When we share our stories, it's no longer being held in our heart.
It's true. That's why therapists, psychologists are helpful.
Very, very helpful.
I just have one more question, because while you're talking to me, I keep thinking about breathing and how important breathing is.
Yes.
And then could you answer that?
Sure. The second we come into this body and we take our first breath, we lock in the universe. This is what astrologers know, the location, the time. You are literally moving in time and space in your body, a signature of the universe. Every time you breathe in and exhale fully what no longer serves you, then you make available to your body more of the now universe. But if you're a closed system, not releasing beliefs or what no longer serves you, then you can't bring in the new universe movement fully.
Wow.
That's how important your breath and your beliefs are.
Well, you take my breath away. You do.
Thank you.
And I'm
Thank you.
I could sit and talk to you for hours. Will you come back?
I will come back. And I want to have you on Miracle Makers as well.
I would love to. I would love to.
We have so much fun together.
We do. We really do. God, it's like I'm in awe of everything that you know and that you've learned, and I learned so much from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Char. Thank you.
Oh, it's so my pleasure. And everybody, don't go away, because I'm going to do an impromptu reading. We corralled one of the interns, poor Lindsay. She's going to get stuck having a reading. I know nothing about her, although she likes Sunny. So don't go away, and we'll be right back. If you like what you've seen on CharVision, then go to char.net and book a personal reading with me, or join a group reading, or join one of my workshops where I teach you to be psychic and intuitive. Okay, so we're back, and this is Lindsay, one of our interns at UBN. And Lindsay, have you ever had a reading before?
Nope.
Okay, well, thank you for being our guinea pig today. So just say yes or no to me, and if I say the name, you can repeat it, but it's better if I get it on my own. I was picking up an A or J initial. Do you have somebody that's an A or J?
Yep.
Deceased or living?
Living.
A J?
Living, yep.
And is that a male, or is it spelled J with an N in it, or an E in his name, or J-E, or J-A, like
J-A.
James, or James?
Yep.
Is this your dad?
No.
Or who is it, a friend? Who is
Close
that?
friend. Very close friend.
Like, it's not a romantic friend?
No.
He's just a good friend?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have plans to go away, or to go to a concert, or go
Yep.
something soon together?
Yep. Yes, we do.
Is it going away, or just having an evening together?
Both, actually.
Both. It's not Coachella, though, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure where you're going, but I feel like this is going to be fun for you, and you know, I do know this logically. The last time I talked to you, I said, "Be careful driving."
Yeah.
And you got in an accident, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but you're okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay, but it wasn't with James that you were with,
No.
was it? Okay, this is something totally different. Okay, who's going to be driving this time?
Probably both.
And will you be on a freeway, on the highway?
Maybe.
Just make sure that people, that you're aware while you're driving, both of you. I feel like whatever accident happened recently was a wake-up call to be aware.
Yep.
It just to be aware. And they're showing me an M or R initial. I don't know where this is. Is there is there M?
Yeah.
Like a female M?
Yep.
M-A or M-I? Or just starts with M?
It's M.
Is there an L in her name or an R in it?
There's an R.
It's not a Miriam or Mira, but it's M with an R in it.
Yeah.
But it's not M-A-R.
No.
Okay. Or M-O?
Nope.
I don't know the name. Is this family to you?
Mm-hmm.
Is there an L in that name?
Last name.
Okay. Is this your mom or your grandma?
Grandma.
And she's living?
Mm-hmm.
Is her husband living as well?
Yes.
Who had the health issue? Did he?
That's a good question.
Did he have a health issue?
Yeah.
Did they put him on a medicine?
I think so.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like he's okay, but they have to watch him.
Yeah.
Watch his medicine or watch him. And are you thinking about going, I know you're in school now, but going to another school or an extra school or
Wasn't planning on it.
Or what's it called after you got masters? Are you doing anything like that, or taking outside classes, or thinking of taking outside classes, maybe not associated to your school, but outside classes that have to do with communication or that have to do with social media or that have to do with this. Are you taking a class like this or planning on it?
I was thinking about it.
And
but,
were you thinking of working with social media as one of your majors or one of your working
a little
things?
bit. A little bit.
I feel like that. I feel like that's around you,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm also seeing a B or R. I don't know where this is coming from. Is there like a Robert or a Bob or a Bill?
There was a Bob. Yeah.
Who was that?
My cat.
Is he deceased?
Yep.
Your cat's with you.
Oh, Bob.
Sunny, it's a kitty. Sometimes I pick up on deceased animals as well, and I feel like, did he ever sleep on your bed or jump on your bed?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
I was really little.
Okay, you were really little, so you
Yeah.
don't remember. I feel like you can tell your parents that Bob's spirit's okay.
Okay.
Like the kitty's okay, but somebody was really close to that cat. It must have been your mom or
Yeah, my dad
your
was,
dad.
yeah.
Okay, because, excuse me, they're saying there's, do you have their ashes?
Mm-hmm.
You have Bob's ashes
Yeah.
in the house.
Yep.
Bob wants to know why you still have the ashes.
Because we love you, Bob. We want to keep you around.
I have to tell you, I had dinner the other night at my friend's house,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to say who, but we were having dinner, and then we had dessert, and it was a lovely time, and another friend was with us, and she brought 3 bottles of different color, like clear, different color bottles with her, and I thought, oh, we're just going to get a bottle. What is that? She goes, this is my dad. It was his ashes. She brought it to
my
dinner.
gosh. That's a little strange.
So yeah, it's kind of funny. But
Yeah.
okay. So anyway, so Bob, your cat. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was picking up on that. What is going on by the ocean? Weren't you going to go by the ocean? You were going to go camp. I think I know
Yep.
this logically.
Yep.
So, but did you cancel this now?
Because of the accident.
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling you prevented something worse from happening by going.
By not going? Or?
By not going
Yeah.
to the ocean at that moment when you were supposed to go.
That's good.
Yeah. And also, are you thinking about a change with your home?
I'm thinking about moving, yeah.
I feel you're going to move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel it's good for you. And there's doors you're opening now that are going to help you with your career. Because are you almost done? Do you almost graduate and you get to
Graduate in
have
May.
in May?
Mhm.
Yeah. I feel like it won't be too long where you get a career or a
that's
job.
good.
Yeah, I feel like it's good for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for letting me read
Yeah,
for
of
you.
course.
Okay, everybody, this was. I want to thank Dr. Sarah Larsen. I want to thank Tony, who's always so helpful to me, and Lindsay for letting me read for
Yeah, of
you,
course.
and Nikki at home, who's always helping me with CharVision. And the one thing I just want everybody to remember, that everybody's intuitive, and intuition can take you places logic never could. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you soon. Take good care.